All right, so today I'm going to be doing a Q&A on going to be doing a Q&A on let me see, doing a Q&A on this thing, savings account in Kubernetes, right? So first part of the videos I'm going to make is just basically Q&A, right? I'm going to be asking questions about like infrastructure, basically yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing, right? So today we'll be talking about like service account, right? Let's say you're in an interview scenario. What are some of the questions that can be asked about service account, right? No, so let me start with the first one. I'm going to be looking at the notes that I wrote the question, and I'm going to be going through each of those questions and ask you. For example, right, I'm going to, what about the question number one, right? Now, uh, the question is, can image pull secret, right? Pull image pull secret. Can those also be added to service account? That's the first question. Yes. And also, how do you add them to service accounts? What part of the service account does it go into? Now, the next question is that, we have two ways of creating secrets associated with the service account, right? Now, we have the one where tokens rather associated, right, with a service account, right? We have the first option whereby it's stored in a secret, right? And we have the second option whereby it's projected, by the kubelet, right? As a volume, it's projected as a volume, right? Now, explain the difference between both processes, like between both method of providing, right, or providing token to a associated with the service account, right? Explain the difference between both of them, right? Now, what is the major advantage? What is one advantage? Let me put that way. What is one advantage and disadvantage of projected, right, service account token, right? What is the advantage and what is one advantage, what is one disadvantage of that, right? Now, the next question is going to be, right, what are some of the best practices, right? Tell me one best practice should be that should be looked into when you're talking about service account, right? When we are talking about service account, what is one, best practice that should be considered when you're designing your Kubernetes architecture with service account? Now, and also, what is the location when a service account token is mounted to a port? I don't expect you to know the exact location, but give me an idea of, location where it's being stored on the port, right? Now, and also, right, what is the name of the admission controller that actually updates or validates and updates a port service account? What do you call it? This one should be a very, very straightforward one, right? Now, the next question is that now, what is the process that admission controller goes through in order to, when it encounters a port that has or doesn't have a service account? What is the process that it goes through, right? Now, the next question I will ask you is that there's this feature gate in Kubernetes called bound service account token volume. How, if that feature get is enabled, how does it change the process that the admission controller that I asked you to name earlier, how does it change the process that this admission controller goes through? Now, the next question is going to be explain what is token controller, right? That is straightforward. Now, and during your explanation, make sure that you include, right, how the token controller coordinates with the API server to actually generate the token, right? Yes. And also, is it possible for multiple secrets to be associated with a service account? Right. And finally, the last question. What is the job of service account controller? What is the job of a service account controller? Remember, we have the admission controller. Then we have the service account controller, which is part of like the controller, the cube controller. What is the job of that service account controller? This should be very, very straightforward. So those are the questions. This is the one part of the video. In my next video, I'm going to go through these questions and answer them the best that I can. My answer is not going to be perfect, but my answer is going to try to address each of these questions that I've asked.